Oh dear. Part 2. The Springer affair. The Springer scandals. Well, part 1 covered how does it affect people. It still does. It affects me, and I wasn't directly involved. I had a good hunch of who was involved, but I didn't take names. I preferred it that way because there isn't much I could have done. I was still a teenager, a smart one, but still a teenager, powerless. And back then, teenagers were objects of parental contempt because we could never do anything right. Hasn't changed much, has it? So, that was part of the problem. Springer was a very intelligent guy. And like most evil geniuses, I'd rank him right up there with a guy like Hitler, Stalin, that type of guy. And the paradox is quite paradoxical. Okay. Because he was the first reeve of, well, no, he was the second, actually. The first one quit and tried 3 months because he couldn't handle a thing called democracy. But he was a friend of mine, so I'm not going to badmouth him any further. His name was Lloyd Irwin, and he was quite an excellent guy, but he couldn't get a handle on city politics, and it's amazing how city politics evolves. And in comes this guy, a young bachelor, and I guess in his mid-20s back then, and he, not having a family, he can work all kinds of hours and quickly rises up the ranks of the public school. Yeah, he was a teacher. Can you believe it? He was a teacher. And that was part of the problem. So he ran for reeve, he ran for politics as soon as he had a chance, 6 years after he moved there. I think he was already involved with something in the Cubs, the Boy Scouts, anything to do with youth hockey, big in hockey. Wherever young kids were, or young males actually, Springer was. And people handed over their custody of their kids to him. It was just like, here's little Johnny. To this guy. But he was very selective. He was very, very smart when he picked his victims. He did a two-tier method. Well, he was in the school board, became the reeve, and he controlled literally everything. And he was very powerful. As powerless as I was, we used to snicker. We were laughing at one time at dance. Wendy Bell was there, I guess, what do you call them? Chaperoning the thing. She said she never knew about it till the 80s, but yes, she did. That was a piece of, I think she rejected it. I think that's part of it. Because I didn't know her to be that dishonest of a person. I think in her mind, she knew about it. I told her about it. In fact, she warned me, you're afraid of a suit. I said, well, you can go right ahead. Because we're all young people and we know what we're doing. So he was very, very powerful. He arranged with the mines how the marathon laid out. He was responsible for the town layout, arranging all these things like airports and where things went. And it did quite well. He got us a new arena, new swimming pool, which is kind of hard to do when your town's only about, at the time, 2,000 or 3,000. But it had an future, it had an upside. But that one event, I think, blew it. It really, really did blow it. So what are we supposed to take from this? People, he was so powerful. I mean, he was so influential. People let him literally get away with anything. If you told him he was screwing your freaking kid, if the kid told them he was doing it, they would believe him instead of the kid. As you can understand, this would have a traumatizing effect on anybody of sane mind. We're absolutely powerless. It has changed for the good. But anybody who says that doesn't affect you, let the statute and then state they got a statute of limitations. Not for this. Not for this. It doesn't go away. For those who, like, on the periphery, like I was, on the inside, outside, inside, inside. It was frustrating. We couldn't do a damn thing. Not a thing. You can't even lend moral support because you really couldn't say, are you getting diddled? No. Yes. Well, we were right behind you, and I was. Because a kid would be feeling bad enough. Condemnation from the peers is probably just as bad, if not worse, than from your parents. So that was it. So it's worthwhile discussing further.